Welcome to Women Who Brand, a podcast that spotlights inspiring women in the creative industry. I'm Alejandra Salazar, founder and CEO of CROING, which is part of the 0.1% of creative agencies founded by a woman. And I'll be your host today. This podcast is part of an initiative of CROING to inspire women in the industry by sharing the journey and insights of those who are leading the way. Women Who Brand are creative, strategic, and visionary forces in the world of marketing. They make an impact in both their role and the industry as a whole. Whether through campaigns, storytelling, or experiences, they shape how people perceive, interact with, and remember the brand. In this episode, we talk with Kat Canada, founder of Rebrand and former director of marketing at our beloved brand, Bobby. This episode is a must for marketers who truly do their job to serve a community. I think what Kat has been doing her whole career is advocating for women, solving real issues through every brand she has worked with. And the passion she shares it with is super inspiring. This podcast might also inspire you if you are thinking on transitioning from a corporate job to an entrepreneurial one. And beyond that, Kat is passionate about the power of words. And I will say every single word she shares here is worth listening to. So don't miss it. Now, please join me in welcoming our next woman who brand, Kat Canada. I'm so happy to have you here. I love you
It's so good to
much.
see you and to get to be in your space. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. I think we will have fun. I'm happy for all the listeners because you will get to know Kat, which is so inspiring, so joyful. I love her so much. For those who don't know her, she is the founder of Rebrand, an online community for networking, and she used to be the director marketing at Bobby. Kat and I met last year at Brand Week. At the time, she was, as I said, the marketing director at Bobby, a well-known infant formula company. And I introduced her to my creative agency, and we have been in touch since then. Kat now is exploring and is in the amazing journey of entrepreneurship that we will talk about it soon. And yes, I'm really excited to have you here. I can't wait for our conversation, so let's start.
Let's do
Kat,
it.
tell us what led you to pursue a career in marketing, and now that you step in this new role, how do you feel? I want to understand why you started in general and how do you feel now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I didn't start pursuing marketing back, when I got out of college, post-college. I was actually an English major. So I still say and identify as a writer. So my career actually started as a copywriter. So shout out to all the copywriters out in the world. You make the world go round for us marketers.
I know.
So my journey to where I am now really started with words, and I still feel that way. I even now as an advisor, or, as a strategist, I work through whatever issue we're having by way of words. Like, how do we write through this campaign? My old creative director used to talk a lot. She was the same. She used to talk about, let's start with the email. Let's write the email and work our way through. And that's how you can problem solve and build incredible campaigns, starting with the words. We know those are the things that resonate. So I started as a junior copywriter, worked my way up. Eventually content, was the word. It wasn't the word when I started my career, but it became the word. Content strategist, and, moved on from there. So now I would say I'm mostly a generalist in the marketing world. I firmly believe that generalists are going to save the world one day. So that's where I really identify as more of a generalist of managing teams, managing work, big ideas, always rooted back in the words.
Love that. Sometimes, based on your initial, let's say, career, you can kind of connect it with everything you do throughout your journey. Sometimes we study something and then we change and we feel like maybe this is not, right or what I did at the beginning. But since the world evolves so much, I feel we have to adapt. And if we have these tools, in your case, is the word, which is, everything, to have a conversation, to create a campaign, a conversation with your partners, with your team, with the community you serve. So I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
so,
totally agree.
Through your career and now as a founder, how do you evaluate whether an idea or an initiative is the right one to move forward with? Do you follow a specific process, or do you only rely on intuition?
I really want to say that I read all the data and I dig into the data. But I'm not, that to say, I will say I love data-backed ideas, right? So making sure that the idea you have, and maybe the idea is coming from your gut instinct or your, intuition, as you said. And then how do we back it up? And that's something we did a lot at Bobby. Most of our campaigns, if not all, started with some kind of data point or rooted in something, because I talked a lot about, I don't want to normalize a thing that doesn't need to be normalized. And if it's not actually an issue and we're just making an issue so that we can make a campaign that is solving
God,
a
yeah,
made
yeah.
up problem, that's not going to have the impact that we want it to have. So let's make sure that the problem already exists, whether
Correct.
it's a physical product with solved by a product, like an actual product, or if it's an emotional or psychological problem, or women in postpartum are feeling a certain way. How do we then build a campaign that supports that problem, that data point, if you will, rooted in true facts, true data points, and then go from there, so having a little bit of a sandbox that us brand marketers can play in, I think allows the creativity to actually go wider than if you could go too big at first, you actually end up not being tethered to anything and it doesn't have that impact. So I would say, give me the facts and then let me play, I think is like the
Love
best
it.
way to kind of explain it.
Not only is the best way to explain it, but I feel it's the best way to actually work, at least
Yeah.
in this industry, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I get you. Sometimes we want to go wild with the idea, which is the way I like. But if that doesn't connect with something that, like an insight from our consumer, then it's kind of
What
art
is it?
and
Like
not marketing.
yes,
It's just
it'll fall
art.
flat. It'll fall
Got
flat
it.
because consumers know, right? Consumers are so smart these days. And also you need to just tell them the thing, right? It's like some consumers are smart. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt, but also let's not make them do the work to figure out if your
Correct.
tagline is too punny or too clever and not just saying the thing, they're not going to get it.
Got
So I
it.
think
Yeah.
it's both sides. Like give the consumers all the credit they deserve because they're looking for authenticity. They're looking for a brand that's really solving a problem that they're having, and then give it to them straight. Make it easy for them to understand what
Love
we're
it.
trying to do here.
I agree. So these creative ideas, right? How do you make sure that your voice and your creative ideas were heard? I mean, right now you are the founder of your own company, so I guess
Yeah.
your ideas get
Yeah.
out there. But when you used to work for another company, how was it? Because our listeners are in their mid of their careers, or majority of them actually are CMOs, directors that are exploring ways to put the word out there and sharing their expertise with others so everyone can learn. So sometimes this is more of a question from maybe early in your career. How
Yeah.
did you make your ideas heard?
It's an interesting question and interesting to come at it this way. So, because my initial thought, my initial response was going to be like, as a leader who's managing a full team, having your voice heard, it like starts with the like pitch process, the brief process, like make sure the brief is really good, that how you're able to articulate to your team clearly, directly tied to business initiatives. Like, why are we doing this? This is what the team wants to know. Why are we doing this? What's the benefit to the business? And also back up, right? The executive team is going to want that too. Like, why? Okay, you can give them all the most beautiful deck in the world of this amazing campaign, but if they don't think at the end of the day it's going to drive the business forward, whether that's from a brand awareness or straight conversion, it's not going to get greenlit. So I think that part is getting really, really tight with the brief, the idea, whatever it is, a campaign, tie it to business initiatives. Why now? Why at this time? What is it going to do? Figure out what those performance metrics are, which is like the most boring answer. I know that's such a boring answer, but
It's not
it's the truth if you want the work to
true.
get going.
Yeah.
And then as a leader, I find, and then be quiet. And that's where your team, they hear you. If you want your voice to be heard and cut through your team, you need to stop talking or
Love
else it just
it.
turns into noise, right? So brief your team, give them direction, then let
Direction,
them
yeah.
do their work, right? Let them do it. Come in and give them here and there approval, how to sharpen this, how to tighten it, but let them go for it. Let your team do the talking. I always believe in the most senior person in the room needs to be the last one to give their point of view. Because if you're the first one to talk, it cuts everyone off at the knees. Everyone will stop and be like, okay, we're going to jump because you told me to jump. But instead, I want to give my team the opportunity for them to think through, for them to ideate, for them to pitch, for them to really get to explore what their creativity is going to be here. And then at the very end, then I get to give my point of view. So, and then it becomes your voice becomes tighter, sharper, your words are more intentional, your team hears you versus your voice being white noise. So I think that answers your question, but that's how I would,
Yes.
both like as a junior and then as a senior, how to get your voice across.
And considering that, as I said, a lot of our listeners are in high level positions in different companies in marketing, I think sometimes when you, let's say, give the brief and then, I love your advice on, okay, then shut up a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
maybe I feel that what happened is that people, which I don't want to put it as micromanagement, but they want to like be in touch all the time
Mm.
because maybe time runs, right? And if you wait until the last minute to
Mhm.
talk, maybe, you lost a lot of time, which I know
Yeah.
it comes with trusting your team. But how do you manage that, I would say, anxiety of like, well, time is running, I want to talk. Like, how do you manage that?
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that feeling too of like, okay, where's it at? Haven't seen it. I want you guys to run, but like, what's happening? I just is so believe in just like do a drive by, like shoot them a mess. I just believe in management of human to human. You'll never see me leaning into like corporate jargon. It's not my vibe. I'm just would much rather human. Hey guys, I haven't seen this in a while. Where's it at? How can I
Love
help?
it.
Let me jump in.
Love it.
Like there's a level of formality where like
Mm-hmm.
God bless project managers who keep us all in the straight and narrow and have like, here's the actual formal check-ins, right? Like
Love it.
make
Love
sure
it.
those happen, our VOs, V1s, V2s, so that we're able to track the work. And then if there's anything in between, if that anxiety comes up in between, like, okay, I gave feedback 4 days ago, I haven't seen the next version, what's happening? Do a quick drive-by. Hey guys, checking in on this and just see how it goes, And I know maybe your team at times like, oh, Kat, it's coming,
Yeah.
right? But I think there's also a lot like, hey, just want to see where it's at, like getting a little nervous. I haven't seen it. I think there's power and vulnerability and just
Love
you
it.
as a human recognize like, maybe I'm projecting a little anxiety onto you, but hey, like this is where things are at. This is high stakes. My boss is asking me for it. Like, where are things? And giving them the benefit of the doubt that it's happening,
Love
coming
it.
at them, not like it hasn't moved, therefore I have to assume it hasn't moved, but more of like, hey, I'm feeling a little tight on this.
Close. Yeah,
You
yeah,
guys
yeah.
feeling tight too? Is that just me? Like, how's it doing? How can I help you? How can we check in? And keeping that just human to human conversation
Yeah.
open. So your team feels supported, not micromanaged, and you are still getting what you need and not letting the anxiety win.
I love that advice. And also in my personal experience in the agency, I understood that sometimes I give you the feedback, the brief, and everything,
Mhm.
but then the expectations in terms of time, sometimes I don't give it. And then I
Mm,
found myself expecting something in 3 days when I never told you I want to see it in or I want to see the
yeah.
process.
Yeah.
So now I learned that, and I make sure I'm clear on like, look, this is what we're doing. I'm hoping tomorrow at 12 to see it, or in 4 days to see it. Like, I say what I want, so it's there, and I
Mm,
feel that put us in the same place of expectations, and then they can say like, you know what, 3 days doesn't make sense. So then we understand each other, and it
mm.
makes it easier. At least that in my case have
Yes.
worked.
I think that's so right. I mean, there's nothing like managing a team in general, but managing a team of creatives, particularly who can be emotionally wrapped up in their work. Same with marketers. It's what makes us great, right? Being able to tap into that. That makes you have to be intentional with your words. Like you have to take responsibility and accountability of the things you say to them and your directives to them. So I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree with you more that just being sharp with your words and holding yourself to that standard ultimately is what benefits your team more than anything.
Love it, love it. So my love, in terms of marketing, let's go deeper there. Which community or target audience do you find the easiest and the hardest to reach today, and why?
Easiest and hardest. It's interesting. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this is a cop out. I feel like they're kind of like on opposite sides of the same coin. And I generally, my world has been pretty targeted towards women, both at Bobby. Before that, I was at Perfect Bar, a refrigerated protein bar company, really put that like fresh snacking on the map, the first protein bar in the fridge. So
Okay.
it was a brand new, same idea, like disruptor, right? We had to find the audience. They didn't know to look for a protein bar in the refrigerated section. So, and Bobby in a lot of ways was also the first, right? It was the first European style, American made organic infant formula here. Didn't know to look for some of these things on the label, right?
For sure.
So I
For
feel
sure.
like with that, and now with Rebrand, my own company, which like you very graciously shared of this online community, it's mostly women, 90, I would say
Love
99%
it.
women. So all three of these brands and some of the client work that I'm doing in the one of my brands is in the menopause space, obviously women centric.
Sorry.
Women tend to want to find community. They want to be, in a lot of ways, like want to be marketed towards, but they're smart and they drive the economy. Like women spending drives the economy. They spend the household, they spend for themselves. Like they are driving the economy first. So they're at times the easiest to find because they're online, they're looking for products, they're looking for brands. They want to love a brand, they want to be part of a community. And then the other side is, but they're smart. and they're not going to just be sold
I
to.
love
You know,
it.
they want to be part of a community and part of a brand that they believe in, that there's authenticity, that there's a voice, that they stand for something, you know? So I feel like it, for me, at least in my career, it's
Yeah.
been a lot of the same woman, like a better for you, smart, engaged, certain level of household income woman, educated, who's like ready to give you their money, but you better come straight if they're going to
Love
give
it.
you their money and they want to engage. So I feel like that continues to be it, right? And now I think in the day and age of just so much consumption, so much content, so many brands, you have to be even smarter. You have to be sharper. You have your value props have to be on lock. You know, your content has to be educational and entertaining. You have to
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
you have to be good at all the things because she's going to cut through the bullshit if you're not. So
Love
I
it.
feel like it's, you know, it continues to be women. I mean, maybe I know my audience here. I know who we're talking to.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm partial to it, but women are going to be the ones who continue to drive brands forward,
Right.
the economy forward. And we need to give her the respect that she deserves because she's not going to open her purse to
Please.
just anybody. So brands out there, you got to come right.
And I think that applies to everything,
Agree.
honestly.
Agree.
Honestly.
Same.
This is beyond marketing. Love it.
Give her some respect, you know?
Yes. I mean, no, no, no. I love you. I love you. So, my love. Now let's talk a little bit about personal brand because you're, I feel like just the fact that you're here in this podcast, and I know you write a lot on LinkedIn as well, and you can share more where, you know, you
Mm.
build your personal brand. But I found you speaking at an event where I was speaking as well. So this audience is full of CMOs, directors, etc. that sometimes the only people that have listened to them is their teams.
Yeah.
And every time I interview them, and for some of them, this podcast is the first time of an interview, which I
Yeah.
love because let's say, I don't know, we have a meeting as an agency and company, and I heard them, and I'm like, I want to read about you. I want everything
Yeah.
from you. But it's not easy. It's not easy because many reasons, but a lot of like, why if I talk, but then I'm representing this brand? And also like, why would I say? Sometimes they really feel that they don't have anything to say, even though they have and they hold the position they hold. So
Mm.
how was your experience? It was a moment where you make the decision of actually building your personal professional brand. And, you know, how was the experience? Why did you do it? Tell us a little bit more and any advice, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
just by listening to your story is already an advice, so please.
Yeah, I resonate with that feeling of my career is attached to who I'm working for at the time, and I represent them, which I take seriously. I think there's respecting your employer like that. I mean, like if I'm out here, what I say is a reflection of them. If I feel like I want to build my personal brand around the work. And, you know, I think it really for me started at Bobby because I was living the brand. I had my first son was 16 months when I joined. I had my second son while I was still there. I was so fortunate to get to launch Bobby for Change and lead their advocacy work alongside the amazing force, Michelle Lompak, who's still there. She's the director of impact now, and she's just amazing. And getting to do that work that was both in alignment with where I was with my life and in alignment with like my own personal values, it was very easy to get lost in it. You know, like I felt like my identity really became that. And I was so proud of the work we were doing and proud of the brand that I got to do really amazing brand work from the start. There was never like convincing the CEO that brand matters. Like she knew,
Yeah,
she was into it.
yeah.
They're all branders, I would say. So I get that, you know, your identity out here in the professional world is a reflection of the brand that you're working for. I was just very fortunate that I first started posting on LinkedIn during that time with the encouragement of my team. It's hard. I'm out here to say posting on LinkedIn is hard. It feels
It
cringy
is.
at times and it can feel self-congratulatory and like you won't catch me making a video for LinkedIn. I can't do it. But
Yeah, maybe we will have a video from you from
yeah,
this
okay,
podcast.
this will get on LinkedIn. But so why it's hard in building your personal brand that is interwoven with your professional identity is hard and tough. And sometimes you're like, I don't know, is anything I have to say interesting? So, you know, and what I found though is I would post once and I'd be like, oh, hey, people were into this. And then I post again. And what I got to do is at least for me, building my personal brand was all about not me, but the work. It's like, what is the work we're doing? What do I represent? what does the work I attach my name to represent? What is the good out in the world I'm trying to do? We really believe that we are trying to make, feeding better, feeding with confidence. Before that at Perfect Bar, getting to really run the D2C and the content and the campaigns of like, what do I believe in? Like, I really believe in trying to create a better for you product, eating better protein to our foods, all of the things I believed in. So getting to build me and my professional identity around this work, I was blessed and it was relatively easy because it was in alignment, with what I was doing. If I had to sell something that was like tough for me, I think that would be a harder thing. But I just believe in bringing your whole self, like the work. And if you're going to tie your identity to the work, why? Like, why does that work matter to you? For me, I'm a mom of two. I talk about being a mom a lot. I talk about running my own company now a lot. And, the company is based on community. So it's always about the other person.
I was about to talk about it because I feel you said at the beginning, you being an expert on women audience, you said that we always look for community. And what a better way to build a community than by sharing our thoughts.
Totally.
Initially, right? So
yeah, that's right.
And honestly,
I think people are responding to it. So I'm like, okay, we'll keep going.
Totally. And honestly, in our case, I met you that time and then we had a meeting. And since I feel we are kind of in touch because I read the things you post, maybe you see the things I post, and it's kind of a way of, being connected to a certain extent.
Yes, I agree. And I always, 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 always believe in following up and reaching back out. And that's like us. Like we met after the talk and then we reached out and then we followed up and we've just stayed in contact. I mean, obviously it's not a surprise that I launched a networking company essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
I so deeply believe in network.
When I read a little bit more about your company, I was like, she should be in my sister podcast, which is Women Who Network. Like,
that's it. So yes,
let's do it. Definitely, yes. I think you need to be there because it's like your thing. So
I'll see you over there too.
Yeah, she's amazing. She started this podcast. It's Women Who Network, and mine is her sister podcast, Women Who Brand. But perfect. I mean, you fall into both of them, so I will definitely let her know to ask you. Love it. Last question. We were talking about your personal brand, and you are a brander at heart as well. So if you were a brand, what would be your personal slogan and brand colors?
Oh my gosh. Is it a cop-out to feel like I just launched the brand that I feel like is most like me? It might be a cop-out, but I feel like rebrand is me. And I love the colors. It's like a bright cobalt blue, which feels very, as much as I'm moving out of my sad beige mom era. All of us, all of the moms of the last 5 years that were very into beige, we're moving out of it. So this cobalt blue feels very on brand for me. And I think that, honestly, I feel like rebrand is kind of like what it would be. And because I talk a lot, or I believe that women particularly are constantly reinventing ourselves at every milestone of our own. Whether that's in life or career, there's a level of reinvention, and like, okay, who am I in this era, and now me as a mom, I have a mom of two, my oldest just started kindergarten. I feel like there's a level of a reinvention too. Like, okay, I'm now like a school age mom. I have a kindergartner. Like, who am I here? How do I want my meetings to go? Do I want to be available to pick him up at 3:00? There's this constant reinvention of who we are and this rebrand, if you will, and I feel like with each stage, each company I've been at, I joke that I've quit every job I've ever had, but it's true because I feel like I'm getting closer and closer and closer to like this more authentic version of myself, not to be so woo-woo and crazy, but that's it. There's this constant rebrand. And I believe that you're never fully fulfilled, right? You're never fully complete. I think your whole life, you can always learn more. You can always reinvent more. You could always pick up a new hobby. That there's a level of rebrand. And it's not in a shame way of like, oh, I got it wrong. I need to rebrand.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's this opportunity to grow. The growth is in the rebrand. So launching rebrand, which is based on women networking, which if you know me, I love to yap and I love to meet friends. Like the phrase like no new friends does not apply to me. I like want new friends every day. So getting to meet new people, I just feel like I've built this community it's only been 4 months and we're climbing towards 1,000 members and it's just warm and it's like this little pocket of sunshine on the internet and people are getting jobs, hiring people, meeting people, collaborating, meeting up for coffees. Like it is just such this warm place on the internet to find true connection, true, real, authentic networking that I would argue you're not going to get on LinkedIn, but you can get here. So yeah, I feel like that's my brand. And I feel like it's
Love
my
it.
little thing and it's like me manifested in a brand.
Love it. I couldn't agree more. I think, and the way you express it, it feels really authentic. So I feel the more you move forward, you are trying to get, the more authentic self, your authentic self. And I think you are there basically
Oh,
because it
thank
really
you.
makes sense what you are building and the way you are and how you express. And
Hmm.
really, yeah, it feels whole.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Of
Yeah.
course, sweetie, of course. Well, you just talk about your community and your company. So I want to know a little bit how was the transition from a marketing role to starting your own business?
Mm.
So what happened there? Because I know I don't want to be repetitive, but our audience might be thinking about it. Sometimes you are in a point in your career when you say like, should I become an entrepreneur or should I
Yeah.
continue this path? So how was in your case
Yeah.
and how is the transition going?
Oh my gosh, I can't encourage people enough to make the jump. It is scary. Believe me, it is scary. And I, was at this beloved company for almost 4 years, joined year one, and jumped and helped it grow to hundreds of millions of dollars and loved my team. And it was just time. Like you just know when it's time. I just knew I needed to go kind of like spread my wings, and I think it was a long time coming, and then in an instant I had clarity and it was time. And the fun thing is I left kind of, with different reasons or different feelings of what I would do next, and had a couple clients, like freelance clients set up. Didn't have the intention of launching Rebrand, and yet it is what happened. And the story, I'll move through the story quickly, but it's ultimately the story of the launch of Rebrand was my last week at my past job. They posted on LinkedIn the job posting, and I hadn't quite told everyone that I was leaving. So my phone blew up and LinkedIn blew up and all these questions around like, what's happening here? So I went back, a marketer, always a marketer at heart, went back to LinkedIn and essentially reposted it and was like, help me find my replacement, which I also believe. I just firmly believe that your greatest legacy is what comes after you, right? And not to be dramatic that I had a legacy by any means, but that like
Yeah.
whoever comes in after, like lifts that up and elevates it. Like I wanted someone better, smarter, more experienced than me to come in and like take the mantle and build the brand for its next 5 years and beyond.
Yeah.
Truly. So this like search for my replacement went on and I got blown up. By no means was it viral, but in my little tiny sliver of LinkedIn, like it felt viral, and I got literally hundreds of emails and messages from people, the hopefuls. And I had this revelation of people leave other people's dream jobs every day. It's just a matter of knowing, like knowing the jobs
100%.
available, knowing the people who might fill it in, knowing who
100%.
might be hiring it. And so I went back to LinkedIn a day later and was like, holy moly, thank you everyone. Like you all need to know each other. I got amazing women who are smart and capable and passionate and way over experienced, to be honest. And I was like, wait, you guys all need to just know each other. Like you should network and maybe all swap jobs. Like we all should just give each other our jobs. And so I said, so what should this be? Should this be a WhatsApp group? Should be whatever. And it was a resounding Slack. And 1 day later, 2 days later, I like threw up the quick website, opened the Slack, posted on LinkedIn, like, welcome to Rebrand. And that was it. And it was like not overthought. It was, it's such an example of like progress over perfection. And for all this marketers who are like obsessed with everything has to be perfect and the rollout and the drumbeat and the content and the kerning, and like, it was not that. It was like fully, all right, you wanted a community, here's a community. And it's just grown so beautifully and so organically. Like I said, that was in April, and here we are end of August, and we have almost 1,000 members, and it's so lovely. So, in a lot of ways I didn't know. I did not know that this was going to be what was happening when I left, but I'm just so happy that this is where I'm at.
And how, if someone is reading and want to join the community, what they can do to join?
There's a link. It's a Slack group right now.
Almost there. Now we are moving to a quick fire round.
Oh, okay.
I will ask you a few questions and you will say whatever comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Ready.
So, commercial spot or social media activation?
Social. I would say social. I love a commercial. Believe me, I love a commercial. Like, let's do it. But for biggest impact and most targeted impact, I would say social.
Okay. Winning an award or achieving real business results?
That feels like a setup. I'm going to say achieving real business results.
I will say winning an award. No. But,
if we go to Cannes, let's go to Cannes, baby.
Exactly.
Let's win an award. Like, yes, I'm down. I'm down for that.
I will say winning an award that achieve business results.
Here we go. Can I do both? Do I have to pick one?
Yeah. So, storytelling or performance marketing?
Storytelling till I die.
I know the word. One powerful connection or 100 new contacts?
One powerful connection. I think that one person, you don't know where they're going to go. And if they, okay, this actually goes, you set me up. This was a setup too for me. You knew I would respond to this one, team. Rebrand is based on the theory of one powerful connection versus when you go to a conference and you all wear a badge and it's like you meet a million people and you actually meet no one. And the only two contacts you actually walk away with are the two women you happen to be standing next to during the happy hour because you actually get chatty, right? Like
Yes.
that's what rebrand is. Those two women or this one powerful connection is what rebrand is essentially built on.
Love it. Love it. So, rebrand a brand or rebrand a person?
Brand.
I love it. So to close this episode, my love, I will ask you two more questions. One, what does it mean to you to be a woman who brands?
I find, it's funny, you just asked this storytelling. I find such responsibility in carrying and being the steward of good storytelling. My career has been in women, so I carry the story of women, and women in really sensitive parts of their life, prenatal, fertility, postpartum. We did a lot around the issues of paid leave, the maternal mortality crisis. Like I want to tackle head on real issues that real women are facing. And I feel all the joy and all the weight of doing that responsibly.
Love it. And what advice would you give to a woman in the creative industry, especially one in a leadership position?
Oh, man, it's interesting. I've always been on the brand side. So this is more for women on the brand side. I can't speak as intelligently to those who are navigating the agency life, which I give you all of the respect in the world because I did agency for a blip and it was really tough for me. So I have found my comfort on the brand side. I think I've said this many times. I believe that soft skills, I think are some of the greatest skills and the hardest skills to teach. And I think women tend to have stronger soft skills. We're empathetic. We're good. We're better communicators. We're good listeners. We're, we're not risk averse, but we're risk aware. So we can make really good decisions. And I would say lean in there. You don't have to get your elbows out. You don't have to get hardened. You don't have to try to climb any corporate ladder in a way that you think you should. Lean into what your skill set is. And if that's words or storytelling, or if you're highly empathetic and you can cut to the emotion of a thing, recognize that that's actually your superpower and lean in there where you can, because that will eventually be what you cut through with.
Love it. God, thank you so much for this conversation. I think I've been saying this, but it's really like I'm doing a PhD here with all the amazing guests because you get to learn a lot and you really gave me a lot of insights and I love the way you see the work we do. You know, I think it's a pretty human-centric way of looking at things that makes me believe in the industry that we are in. So thank you for that. And I hope that happen. And I'm sure it will happen with our listeners. So thank you so much for being here. And to all the women who brand, listening or reading, remember, your voice matters and your creativity has the power to inspire and lead. Until next time, ciao.
Bye, thanks.